Welcome to Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge. This time we're going to do something very special for Easter, how to take care of your health and how to have the best Easter possible. Health is one of your most precious assets, and one of the things you can do to encourage longevity and to be as healthy for as long as possible is to detoxify. And we're very privileged today to have with us a clinical nutritionist, Josephine Wedekeli from Forever Living, and she's going to take us through the whole process of detoxification. Welcome, Josephine. Where exactly do toxins come from, and what are the effects of these toxins?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Those organs which are specific for detoxification, we have the liver, we have the kidneys, we have the lungs, we have the skin, which is the largest organ. We have the lymphatic system. Those are the ones that are supposed to help us when we're talking about detoxification. But unfortunately nowadays, we are, because of so many issues, the lifestyle and all these things we're exposed to. First of all, we are not eating a natural food as in the olden days. We're talking about environmental pollution. We're talking about the fruits, which are, many of the food we're eating nowadays, they're genetically modified. We're talking about the food we eat in general. We're talking the way they are prepared, overcooking, the way all the nutrients are destroyed. So there, and in addition to that, unfortunately, according to research, we found that many of the cosmetics on the market designed for black women, they are found to actually contain a lot of toxins like paraben, phthalate, which are known or classified as hormonal disruptors, which are being linked to hormonal imbalance.
Thank you very much, Josephine, for that insight on detoxification. It is very important, and we've learned a lot. This Easter, even as you celebrate, as you go out to eat, to feast, and to do all these things, remember, take care of your health. It is very important, it is of prime importance, and you have enough time. This has been Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge, wishing you a happy Easter.
legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 397 hash.
Nashukuru serikali kwa kuongeza bei ya mafuta. Sasa niko kwa highway na kuna traffic hata kidogo. Naomba serikali iendelee hivyo, tubaki tu watu ya gasla na heavy machine peke yake. Pia mimi naomba huyu serikali waseme kama gari yako ni below 3000 cc, gari yako na
ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 397 hash. *811 397 hash.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Stop using your son as an excuse. Don't expect me to cover for you and deceive others. That's not gonna happen.
If the accusation is confirmed, the president will be the first one accountable. You've brought all of this upon yourself. It's no one else's fault. You deserve all of this. Sign the agreement now.
I must destroy Jack's life completely to avenge the baby I lost.
Wise Windsor's phone in your purse.
Nana is my name. My daughter is constantly online these days because, well, it's the new normal way for them to learn. Now, whether here at home or in school, it is important to work with them online so that you find out more about what they're looking for. Also, find out what is out there, because the things I've seen online. So for me, passwords on gadgets is a must.
Being fooled online? Get cybersmart to enjoy safe entertainment and education online. The Communications Authority of Kenya. Mawasiliano kwetu, nguvu kwako.
Well, this is KBC Prime Edition. Time for a comprehensive bulletin this 14th day of April 2022. Good evening from Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Mboya.
My name is Museo, and IGAD is predicting a prolonged drought in Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia following failed rains.
Well, even as the fuel crisis continues to bite. But first, let's take a look at our headline stories.
$29 million people are facing high level of food insecurity, according to the latest expert estimates.
Over 3 million affected by drought as government flags off relief consignment.
Fuel shortage persists in parts of the country despite government subsidy to marketers.
Nanyuki High, most sought school. 2021 KCPE candidates receive Form 1 placement.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
At KBC Channel 1 News, at Purity_Museo, at Mboya24, the hashtag is Prime Edition. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter tonight.
Let's begin with our top story. The government Monday flagged off a consignment of emergency food supplies worth 100 million shillings to 20,000 households in Marsabit County.
The prolonged drought has affected more than 23 arid and semi-arid counties in Kenya. Marsabit County alone accounts for more than 250,000 people in need of relief assistance.
Ruth Wamboi opens our coverage tonight with that report.
More than 3.1 million people are facing starvation in Kenya, a situation that has been worsened by 3 failed rainy seasons. Marsabit County is among the most affected of the 23 Asa regions of the country.
If we cannot keep our children in school in this Asa region, we can imagine the inequity that we are actually nurturing in this country. Therefore, in those countries when I visit, I've realized children stay in school because there's a feeding program.
Speaking while flagging off food trucks to the northern part of the country, CS Ministry of Gender Professor Margaret Kobia said long-term sustainable measures are already in place to address the drought situation.
Some areas even like Embu, there are areas like Bere, which might not be necessarily out of the 23. I've come to know that areas in Nyandarua, Kon, Daragwa. So even when we are saying 23 is a bit of understatement. This drought is dire and we need really to spend a lot of time.
This even as private sector players under the banner Pamoja Tuungane campaign call for more collaborations to help those in dire need with long-term plans to eradicate hunger in the country.
Those of you who agreed that we sit together and put this concept together, it's no longer a concept, it's a reality.
To think about more sustainable interventions, and some of these interventions including addressing food security, water supply, improved sanitation, hygiene and nutrition awareness.
So we need to be more prepared, and I think as corporates, I don't this time look at government because government has many demands on the taxpayers' money.
In February 2022, President Uhuru Kenyatta released emergency relief foods to 2.8 million Kenyans to cushion them against persistent drought. Ruth Wamboi reporting for Prime Edition.
On to that story that we had headlined, the IGAD Climate Predictions and Application Center, ISPAC, is warning that East Africa is facing yet another season of failed rains.
The IGAD Executive Secretary Dr. Wakne Gebeyehu says that the failure of the rains is placing Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia into a prolonged drought.
Judith Akolo reports.
Climate scientists are warning that the current long rain season could fail. They are attributing the situation to low pressure over the southern hemisphere and the high pressure over the northern hemisphere, which has delayed the northward movement and proper establishment of the rain-bearing intertropical convergence zone, the ITCZ. The formation of tropical cyclones that have hit the southeastern part of the continent has also denied the Horn of Africa region the much-needed moisture. IGAD Executive Director Dr. Wakne Gebeyehu is warning of an impending disaster due to the prolonged drought.
Already 15.5 to 16 million of our sisters and brothers are in need of immediate food assistance due to this drought. This is 6 to 6.5 million in Ethiopia, 3.5 million in Kenya and 6 million in Somalia.
While noting that the Food Security and Nutrition Work Group, co-chaired by IGAD and FAO, estimates that over 29 million people are facing high levels of food insecurity across the IGAD region, Dr. Wakne appealed for international assistance.
We are appealing to the international community. We are appealing to all the partners that this region is also in acute drought that may cause a disaster.
The UNDP manager in charge of the Resilience Hub for Africa urged for the use of technology in working towards resilience and adaptation to climate change.
We have a wide range of new technologies that are made available to us to be leveraged, to be utilized to address long-term resilience issues. In the Horn of Africa, we see that one of the critical issues is the issue of water.
Judith Akolo, the Prime Edition.
Well, a spot check now on the fuel situation, which we are all too familiar with now. There are fuel supply challenges being witnessed in parts of the country 1 week after the government released 34.4 billion shillings to settle fuel subsidy arrears owed to marketers, and 4 days after a ship docked with 100 million litres of fuel.
And a spot check by KBC found that some petrol stations had no fuel at all, while those that had supplies had long queues.
Here's that report.
Kutoka Thika sasa niko Kiambu hakuna mafuta. Thika road iko, lakini line inatoka hapa. Line kubwa. Over like gari 50. Hata sioni sasa ni kuenda niweke kagari nichukue sasa matatu.
It's not enough. Actually, my car doesn't have any gas right now, so that's why I've been queuing here for long now.
Kama mimi ni dereva wa taxi, gari yangu imeishia mafuta huko na nilikuwa na customer ametoroka. Hakuna hata pesa ameniwachia. Tena nimerudi kwa mfuko kwa ile pesa nilikuwa nimepata asubuhi.
Juu hiyo 1000 kama mimi haiwezi fanya kazi ile nataka kufanya.
On Monday last week, the government announced it had released 34.4 billion shillings to clear outstanding arrears owed to fuel marketers for the fuel subsidy program that has been in place since June last year.
Mimi nikakukawa nimefika, lakini badala ya kuwekewa kukawa na commotion sijui ya watu wa pikipiki. Sasa mimi nikabaki tu hapa.
And on Thursday last week, Energy Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma was at Kipevu Oil Terminal to receive a vessel that brought in 100 million litres of fuel. This was expected to ease fuel supply challenges that have been witnessed across the country over the last 3 weeks.
Kuenda kupiga siasa inakuwa ni ngumu sababu sina mafuta. Gari zangu zote hazina mafuta, simekaa, simelala.
Kazi wa bodaboda na limeniadhiri kiwango cha wiki mzima.
Mafuta kama lita moja tulikuwa tunauziwa 300. Na ile place tunaendea mafuta ni mbali. Unapata unatumia mafuta uendea mafuta.
For some motorists, stocking up is paramount, with a majority piling up stocks in jerrycans despite a government recommendation on motorists to stop panic purchases.
Mafuta imekosa, sasa watu wamekosa kazi. Kwa hivyo tunaomba hii Ministry of Petroleum wawache kutudanganya, watuambie mafuta wameficha wapi.
Ukienda kwa petrol station hakuna hii, hakuna, so hatuelewi, serikali itueleze.
The uncertainty among motorists is growing ahead of the Easter festivities, with a significant number of Kenyans planning to travel.
Hapa tunapata na 136, kule unaweza pata na 140 ama 145.
Whether the prices have been reviewed or not, that the fuel that we need for our cars is available for our use. That is the most important thing that we need as at now.
It's a high level of anxiety among Kenyan motorists, and for them is for government to make do with their promise and ensure that fuel shortage issues are a thing of the past, especially ahead of the Easter holidays. I'm Regina Manyara and you're watching KBC Channel.
On to education matters. All the 1.2 million Kenya Certificate of Primary Education candidates who sat for Class 8 examinations have been placed in secondary schools.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says 38,797 of them have been selected to join national schools, while 214,960 others have been placed in extra county schools, while another 258,456 will be enrolled in county schools.
Beatrice Gatonye reports.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says the Form 1 selection process was based on merit, choice and equity. The remarks appearing to provide comfort to students who failed to receive call-ups to schools of their choice.
In the placement, the majority of candidates who scored 400 marks and above were placed in national or extra-county schools of their choice. Special needs candidates were also placed in regular schools of their preference, while others were placed in special schools or based on their disability categories, merit and choice.
Nanyuki High School appeared to be the most desired center of excellence, with 156,003 students applying for Form 1 slots, despite the school having the capacity to admit a paltry 480 students. 149,087 students had picked Kabianga High School, though the school can only accommodate 528 learners in Form 1. Pangani Girls capped the top 3 positions of the most desired schools, attracting 118 and 73 applications against the 336 slots available.
We have still refused to be reasonable. Just like everybody wants to go to Kenya High School, Alliance and Pangani, in advising their children, they still also advise the children to make exactly the same mistake. And that is going to be a matter that the education field officers, together with the teachers, must take action upon, together with the parents.
But in the end, the government believes it has done everything to ensure all learners transit to secondary school. The Ministry of Education has placed 38,797 candidates in national schools, another 2,045 in special needs education, 214,960 others in extra-county schools, 218,456 more in county schools, and 311 others will join sub-county schools, while another 9,128 are refugees in camps. Professor Magoha announced that the government will be offering 9,000 scholarships to needy students.
Like I've said, bursaries and scholarships should be given only for those children in boarding schools. In very simple English, the government of the Republic of Kenya pays for school fees for every child in a day secondary school. So if you are going to give so much money to a child in a day secondary school, some of that money may end up in your own pocket. So we are going to advise that you give scholarship to only children who are going to boarding schools.
Over 1.2 million candidates who sat for their 2021 KCPE examinations will have a chance to continue with their secondary school education in national, extra-county, county and sub-county schools, even as the government continues to assure of 100% primary to secondary school transition. Beatrice Getonyang-Etich, Prime Edition.
Let's now shift gears and move into the space of politics. The Jubilee Party is now challenging National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi to resign from his position after joining the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
The party's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni says though his impeachment is off the table, Muturi should step down for abandoning President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Jubilee Party.
JJ Kioria is on that beat.
Though Muturi had ditched the Jubilee Party even before becoming the party leader of the Democratic Party, his joining of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance Saturday appears to have rattled his former party. Party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni now wants the Speaker to resign from steering the National Assembly, accusing him of betraying President Uhuru Kenyatta.
A person who believes in himself and a person who is would want to be genuine to Kenyans would quickly put in a resignation letter. To see him betraying the president at this hour, even when the writing is on the wall, I don't see any other form of dishonesty that we can go beyond that.
Kioni claiming Muturi is now favouring legislators allied to Deputy President William Ruto and the UDA party.
Since 1963, this is the bunge that has performed the worst. And UNDA, this thing of wheelbarrow was formed from the floor of the house.
This even as ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi called on Kenya Kwanza supporters across the country to remain vigilant ahead of the forthcoming elections. While alleging a plot to antagonize Kenyans through politics of division, the Kenya Kwanza principal called on the electorate to vote en masse for the coalition so as to free themselves from a political stranglehold.
Tupigane na ufisadi. Wakenya wanaumia. Bei ya chakula nyinyi wenyewe mnajua. Bei ya mafuta mmejua. Tafadhali tuweke serikali ambayo italeta order kwa mambo haya ambayo yamesambaratika.
According to Mudavadi, the coalition hopes to net in more members after the entry of Muturi.
Kwa hivyo sisi tuunde coalition of parties ambayo ni Kenya Kwanza, na siku ya kuweka stakabadhi zetu deadline ni 9th of May. Wale wameenda coalition of parties, coalition party. Sasa hao ndio deadline yao ilikuwa tarehe 9.
John Jacob Kuria, Prime Edition.
Let's stay with politics. The Orange Democratic Party primaries in Museo County kicked off Monday amid claims of voter bribery, technical hitches as well as sporadic chaos.
The gubernatorial seat contest pitting outgoing woman representative Florence Mutua and former cabinet minister Paul Otuoma, as Achola Simon now reports.
Stranded voters, uncertainty and pockets of chaos characterized ODM party primaries in Busia County. Kits arrived late in most polling stations, and even after they had been dispatched were not functional, as the Orange Party was hit hard by logistical challenges. Voters from certain designated polling stations, including the gubernatorial candidate Florence Mutua, were forced to move to other polling stations as the kits failed to operate.
Na areas zingine tumekuwa na shida ya password. Password imekuja kuchelewa, so we are also requesting National Elections Board wapatia watu nafasi juu queues bado ziko mrefu kwa hizo areas. Alafu pia network ilikuwa chini kidogo, so information ilikuwa ina hang.
The leaders calling for peaceful process and extension of the voting time for the voters to exercise their democratic right.
So tunaomba National Elections Board tukiwapatia information wapatie those particular areas extra time so that watu waendelee kupiga kwa sababu queues bado ni mrefu vile mnaona hapa.
In parts of Funyula, agents allied to one candidate were roughed up as the situation threatened to get out of hand.
When we were at almost at Mudoma Primary School, the sitting area MCA for Nangina for Nambovoto, Mr. Vincent Olumbe, accosted us and pushed us over the road, went and mobilized some young men who ambushed us and beat us up.
The real contest centering on the coveted gubernatorial seat, which is out of grabs, as outgoing Governor Sospita Ojamong is ineligible to contest, having served 2 terms. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Well, 4 full months still to the general poll in August 9. Let's move on. The Green Thinking Action Party of Kenya has urged its aspirants to claim their space in the political arena and help to solidify the party's strength.
The party leader, Dr. Isaac Kalua, told aspirants to be wary of schemes to derail their quest for elective positions.
In a session to sharpen its aspirants' focus on the forthcoming elections, the Green Thinking Action Party of Kenya cited political schemes during elections, urging its aspirants not to be deterred from the race.
Voter apathy in this country is not just out of people not believing, but because of others doing things that are bad. I'm preparing you for this because you are leaders who are supposed to change what the status quo is. You are going to get letters asubuhi saa zile mnaenda nomination ama kwingine, inasemekana hata na picha yako, mimi nimewaachia huyu opponent yangu, nimeona sitaweza kuendelea, kwa hivyo munisamee, nimeona hii maneno imekuwa ingine. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana wale ambao walikuwa wananifuata, poleni sana. That is going to happen. Prepare yourself to work against odds because they are there. And this is what we want to change going forward. And the list is so much that we can be able to do. I request that you be the agents, you be the people who are going to change this nation.
During the session that also saw the party issue nomination certificates, party leader Isaac Kalua urged over 300 aspirants to work towards delivering a win for SAFE and for the party in the upcoming polls.
We must be able to know that it is the actions that are taken by leaders that are going to change the nation for posterity. Believe in something, push for it, nenda kabisa, and be the person that must be.
Are your people believing in what you're saying? Are they believing? Unaendanga tu uko, unasema ni mimi, nipigieni kura, and you think you'll get the votes. You have to be a believable leader.
For you, who are going to be in positions of power and influence, keep your word. Keep your word. This country needs that. And I hope that you can convince yourself to a place where you know that as an MCA, as an MP, as a governor, my duty is really to do what? To keep my word.
According to the party that has its focus on the post-election agreements and not supporting current political formations, says its leadership will offer the country the much-needed transformative and people-centered approach to the issues affecting the country.
The Green Thinking Action Party has chosen to have a partnership or a coalition after the elections, so that what we do not want to lose are leaders who are ethical and effective at the grassroots level and connect with the principles of our party just because of choosing sides.
Well, it's good you stayed with us this far.
And by the way, Tom, there's another epidemic that the country could brace or could maybe find itself in if nothing is done.
COVID?
HIV infection.
Aha.
There's an alarming rate being reported by the National AIDS Control Council.
Okay, all that coming up after this short break, so stay with us.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Divididos por una sombra de traición.
I can no longer keep his secret.
But what does that mean? What are you talking about, Santiago?
I'm talking about my father's mismanagement. I promise that I'll do something about Rogelio. I won't let you down this time.
Because I'm planning to transfer all of my interests in this company to someone else. Name is Mariela Salvatierra.
Roberto's mistress?
Yes.
Then let me see it.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Welcome back. Some happy moments right here in the studio. You want to take that?
All right. Kenya needs to renew its focus on HIV and AIDS prevention if it is to stop the alarming rate of new infections.
National AIDS Control Council Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ruth Laibon Masha said that with 33,000 people infected across the country, the spike in new infections threatens to reverse the gains that we've already made.
Frederick Moki has that report.
The rise in new HIV infections dominated the agenda as the 3-day annual HIV/AIDS consultative and mobilization meeting began in Nairobi on Monday. According to the United Nations Program on HIV and AIDS, UNAIDS Director of Science and Systems Ford Simage, the epidemic continues to ravage the sub-Saharan Africa with 4,000 new infections reported every day.
1 of 4 infection in sub-Saharan Africa are for young girls and adolescent girl and young women aged to 15 to 24 years old. You can see how red it is in the southern part of Africa.
National AIDS Control Council NACC Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ruth Masha said Kenya also recorded an increase in infections in 2021. Masha affirmed that the rate of infection is high among adolescent girls, with more women accessing treatment than men.
Every year we get, like last year we had around 32,000 new HIV infections, and what is really the challenge of this country is that these infections are happening among young people. If you look at the ages from 35 and below, you find that is where our new infections are concentrated, and most importantly is the ages of 15 to 24. So 61% of all new infections come from the younger people.
She called for partnerships and coordination towards improving resource utilization for sustainable impact against HIV.
If you check the statistics and estimate based on our previous year, you find that we have 98 new infections occurring in this country. And those are too many for any country, because what is now happening is that as we address the entire response, we are beginning to have younger people, and when younger people get HIV, then they also have to be put on treatment for the entire lifelong.
Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Very well. A family in a village in Githunguri, that's in Kiambu County, is in agony following the disappearance of their 12-year-old daughter.
Natalie Njambi Kimani is reported to have gone missing on the 1st of April, moments after excusing herself to go to the toilet.
Well, efforts by her family to trace her have proved futile more than 10 days later. Here's the report.
The vacuum left in this family from Ikino village in Githunguri area of Kiambu County is quite evident on their faces. The family is yet to come to terms with the mysterious disappearance of their 12-year-old daughter 11 days ago. According to the family's house help, Natalie Njambi Kimani, who is a grade 5 pupil at Kiambu Primary School, excused herself to go to the toilet on the 1st of April and never came back.
Natalie akatoka hapa saa 12 hapa kama saa 1, ananiambia ati anaenda choo. Mimi naangalia mtu anaenda choo, sijamuoni. Anaenda kwa choo. Natalie hakuna.
Kuna wasiwasi mingi sababu msichana wetu ni msichana mdogo, na tumekuwa na huzuni sana sababu tunashindwa mtoto wetu wako wapi. Hatuna habari yote, kuna ripoti yote tumeshapokea tangu hii maneno itokee.
Her father Joseph Kimani says her disappearance had baffled them as their relationship with her was never strained.
Ndiye firstborn wangu, nakupenda sana. Mahali huko, kama unaniona, sisi kama familia, mimi na mamako na familia yote mpaka watoto wenu hapa, tuna huzuni sana. Kama kuna mahali huko, tafadhali. Na kama tumekukosea, tunaomba msamaha. Wewe urudi kwetu.
Hata ukiingia kwa nyumba huna amani.
unaona tu ukae tu nje juu hujui kama mtoto ako nje ama ako wapi. Tumekuwa na huzuni sana.
The family says the matter has been reported to relevant security agencies and is now appealing to anyone with any information on her whereabouts to report promptly.
Mtu yote anaweza pata huyu Natalie, anajulikana, anasoma Kiambu primary, apige ripoti tu kwa, atupigie simu ama apige ripoti tu to the nearest police station.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Now, in politics, it is said that there are no permanent friends or enemies. No one knows this better than Godfrey Kariuki, popularly known as
Gigi Kariuki, in relation to his experience when he served in the government of President Arap Moi. And in tonight's edition of the Cabinets, Richard Munga digs into the life and times of Gigi
Kariuki.
1937, Godfrey Kariuki, popularly known as Gigi Kariuki, rose to prominence in the 1960s thanks to his role in helping the landless to settle in Laikipia that previously belonged to the white settlers. Gigi Kariuki was elected to the National Assembly in May 1963 to represent Laikipia West constituency, a seat he held until 1983. 7 years after getting into elective politics, President Jomo Kenyatta appointed Kariuki an assistant minister in the Ministry of Lands, Settlement and Physical Planning in October 1970. He was 33 years old. During the 1974 general election, Gigi Kariuki was opposed by the Gikuyu Embu and Meru Association, that is Gema Laikipia District Chairman F.K. Mboya. At the time, Kariuki had been identified as a supporter of the then Vice President Daniel Arap Moi, which did not sit well with some in the Gema community who were not for the idea of Moi automatically ascending to the presidency. When founding President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta died in 1978, Gigi Kariuki played a crucial role in the KANU elections that were necessary to confirm the transfer of power to Jomo's successor, President Moi. Following the 1979 general election, where Kariuki retained his Laikipia West parliamentary seat, President Moi appointed him Minister of State in the office of the President in charge of national security and provincial administration. Quote unquote, I soon realized that my authority was theoretical and far from reality, end of quote, Kariuki would later write, as soon as he found out that he ended up with a role that was overwhelming in scope and responsibility. On numerous occasions as Minister in charge of security, he was not privy to decisions touching on his docket, only learning about the same in the press. In May 1982, he was transferred to the Ministry of Land, Settlement and Physical Planning, a familiar environment for him as he had earlier on in his career worked in that docket as an assistant minister. In 1983, a commission of inquiry was formed to look into allegations that the then Attorney General Charles Njonjo planned to overthrow President Moi's government in August 1982. Those deemed associates of Njonjo or because of their tribal affiliations had to be expelled from the echelons of power. Gigi Kariuki matched the profile. He was eventually expelled from KANU on 14 September 1984. After being left out in the cold for close to 9 years, President Moi would have a change of heart in regards to his former friend, nominating Gigi Kariuki to Parliament in 1993, a capacity that he would serve in until 1997. The reignited friendship came bearing gifts for Kariuki, as he was appointed chairman of the Betting Control and Licensing Board from 1993 until the year 2000. Gigi Kariuki was re-elected MP for Laikipia West in 2002, after which he was elected Senator for Laikipia County in the 2013 general election. Senator Gigi Kariuki died in June 2017 at the age of 79.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Soul Generation's Ben Soul started off the live experience. Color Festival, Festival of Colors or Holy Festival, is an ancient Hindu festival celebrating good over evil, springtime, love, and of course, colors.
It was more than a collaboration. It was like a bridge that we built, for African music, to just cross over to that international scene, and I'm glad it all became a success.
I can hear music.
Well, there you are. Thank you for joining us again on the business segment. I'm standing in for the birthday girl, Carol Njenga. Lake Victoria is set for a 5 billion shilling fish restocking program. The program, which is a collaboration between Kenya and Hungary, will see the entire lakes restocked with Nile perch fingerlings to shore up the fishing stocks. Benson Rioba reports.
Kenya produces 149,000 metric tons of fish annually, against a consumption of 450,000 metric tons. This, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, prompted Kenya to import fish worth 1.5 billion shillings in 2020 to bridge the deficit. The fish deficit is partly blamed on the declining stock in Lake Victoria due to overfishing that has seen stock reduced by 70%. Kenya, in partnership with Hungary, has started a Nile perch breeding project in Kisumu that will be used as a breeding site for the species to restock Lake Victoria.
Are at a very advanced stage to partner with the Hungarian government with some investment or totaling about 5 billion Kenya shillings to develop that infrastructure to grow our Nile perch potential, not just for Kenya but for the region.
In efforts to show up fishing activities in the country, talks between Kenya and China concerning the suspension of fishing licenses for 6 Chinese fishing ships are on.
We are developing the marine access and development regulations that will do manage in terms of partnerships, joint ventures, and how much you get. Initially, our license system was the license we want to harvest the whole year.
The government has also earmarked cash to settle the 10-month arrears or to French-based Collect Localization Satellites Monitoring Firm that checked fishing activities in the Indian Ocean.
Funds have been set aside to settle the matter so that now we are what happens in our waters on day-to-day basis or real-time basis is addressed and we are able to know what's happening. So this is being addressed.
Kenya loses between 11 and 26 million tons of seafood annually to illegal and unregulated fishing activities within her territorial waters. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, more than 2,000 delegates are expected to flock to Diani Beach, that's in Kwale County, for the 9th annual Connected Kenya Summit. The meeting that is expected to bring together private as well as public sectors. Thought leaders will also take stock of Kenya's adoption of IT services following the disruptions caused by COVID-19 pandemic. Broadcasting Principal Secretary Esther Koimet has said that the meeting will also deliberate on how to deepen investment in the IT sector to expand digital infrastructure across the country. PS Koimet talked to O'Brien Kimani on the sidelines of the meeting.
After a 3-year break, the Connected Kenya Summit is now back, and in the next 3 or 4 days, experts are expected to converge here to discuss various strategies to deepen ICT uptake in the country, as well as innovations that are needed to spur the growth of the sector.
We need to do a lot in that area because even though our connectivity is over 90%, the actual access is, I think around 30-something%. So there is a mismatch between the investment that we've made in terms of the
of the network that we have created and actual people taking up, and we think that it's to do with devices and so on, and we are thinking about it, working with the MNOs, the mobile companies, to be able to see what can be done in that space, and even from a policy perspective to be able to see what we can do to ensure that we lower the cost of devices. It's an ongoing conversation, and as I said, the MNOs themselves are also in that conversation, and because they are the ones who sell the service, the mobile service, it's also they're in a good leadership position also to assist with this process.
So when it comes to ensuring that there's universal access to ICT infrastructure, that's in realization of the fact that ICT is key to growth of our development. Even our developmental documents, our frameworks from the Vision 2030 does recognize that we do require ICTs to grow.
Now, Nairobians have taken to growing their own vegetables in kitchen gardens as a means of cutting household costs. As basic commodity prices continue to rise, Dorothy Maina, one such city dweller, says that she has saved on grocery bills since adopting her at-home farm, allowing her to channel the savings into other projects within her life.
The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics says price of basic food items like cabbage have been on the rise as a result of unfavorable weather conditions and rising input costs. At the end of February this year, 3.1 million Kenyans were in need of food assistance. Doti Maina, a Nairobi resident, is amongst those who have tried to stop grocery bills from eating into their budget with an at-home farm. Doti says her weekly budget has been spared of vegetable costs such as kumawiki and spinach, which has helped in buffering the impact of the current hard economic times.
So if you multiply that across the year with only 3 products, yes, definitely there's a huge saving. Also because I did not need to purchase land to grow additional crops. So on the same space, I'm still able to save on not going to the market.
Doti is among hundreds of urban farmers who utilize flat or vertical farms made using recycled or biodegradable sacks filled with soil and livestock manure to grow vegetables, fruits and grains.
I have not bought sukuma wiki, spinach for the longest time. Okay. That means that if initially I would spend maybe in a week going to the market on a Saturday, maybe in a week, if I would buy hoho 30 to 50 bob, depending on how I consume that, plus another spinach for a week for maybe 200 shillings. Now that is already out of my budget.
FAO says the answer may now lie in small-scale farming, especially for underserved households who could reduce the poverty rates by catering to individual family needs.
We know that no matter what, no matter the situation they are in, farmers are farmers, and they will try to keep farming, even in the most difficult circumstances. Preventing famine starts with producing food, right where it is most needed.
The FAO Food Price Index, which tracks the most globally traded food commodities, averaged 140.7 points in February, up 24.1% from 1 year ago.
But we need the resource urgently. And why so? We know from experience that even in difficult crisis context, it is possible to help people produce food that keeps them alive.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Good stuff. Now on to corporate briefs now. The Coop Bank Foundation, in partnership with the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, and the German Development Agency are training border operators on safety as well as basic motorbike repair and maintenance business skills, ICT, and also digital literacy. So far, the 3 institutions have trained 1,700 border riders under the Jenga Riders project launched in July last year, with more set to be trained within the coming months. Here are the details of this and other stories in our corporate briefs.
The Cooperative Bank Foundation, in partnership with National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) and the German Development Agency (GIZ, have spent 64 million shillings on the Jenga Riders project that has seen 1,700 boda trained. Of these, 240 were assisted to attend refresher riding classes in order to be certified as riders by NTSA, issued with licenses and supported to form cooperatives. The latest to be trained was a group from Nairobi region, where 90 boda leaders drawn from all sub-counties were trained. The partners say the next training will be in Meru later this month, focusing on safety and basic motorbike repair and maintenance, business skills, ICT and digital literacy. Meanwhile, at least 790 job seekers with disabilities will receive training to promote inclusivity in the job market. Stanchart Kenya CEO Kariuki says training in colleges differs from skills required in the job market, a gap that has a bigger impact on the marginalized group. People with disabilities, especially the youth, have lower chances of finding employment than their peers because of discrimination and inaccessible workplaces. Of the 4.4 million Kenyans living with disabilities, only 33% are employed.
It's going to be a 2-year program that is going to run very 2 years program, and it's going to involve the students being helped how to be ready for the employment world, whether it matters to write their CVs or it matters to do how to show up in an interview. So that's going to help. It's going to be a long way that is going to help them be able to be, as I would call it, employable.
Finally, Family Bank has secured a 1.5 billion shillings loan portfolio guarantee facility from the African Guarantee Fund for onward lending to small and medium-sized enterprises. The cash will mainly target women-owned small businesses and climate-friendly investments. The African Guarantee Fund will facilitate developments to Family Bank that will be utilized for technical expertise to the MSMEs and expose entrepreneurs to global knowledge on business development and climate-smart ventures under the 5-year agreement.
Through this partnership with AGF, we will be able to provide affordable credit of up to 100 million per customer to nurture and sustain their businesses.
Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Niache mimi na familia yangu tafadhali. Sitawahi kukusamehe mpaka kufa kwangu.
Dadako hata tuacha tuishi kwa amani.
Unawezaje kwenda kumuwafaza wakati wajua faza ndo tegemea lilonalolio peke yake?
Kwa kama ushatemwa usileteza ovu mimi hapa.
I give you a good lawyer akuwakilishe. What's the problem? Mimi nitashinda vipi kesi wakili kama wewe utatoa ushahidi?
Ipo siku wakili utarudi ndani ya hii nyumba na hautanipata.
Welcome back. My name is Kariuki, but let's now talk sports. The national boxing team hit squad arrived back home last night after finishing second overall at the just concluded Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championship in the DRC. The Kenyan pugilists bagged 17 medals, 6 gold, 5 silver and 6 bronze. Stylish featherweight Samuel Njau, bantamweight Shafi Bakari, light heavy Elizabeth Adiego, welterweight Evelyn Akinyi, flyweight David Karanja and light welter Teresia Wanjiru bagged gold medals for Kenya. Stacey Ayoma, Lorna Kusa, Elizabeth Akinyi and light welter Victor Odhiambo walked away with silver medals. Defending super heavyweight champion Eli Ajowi and Boniface Mugunde were some of the bronze medalists. The team will now shift focus to the Women's World Championship slated for May in Turkey. The national beach volleyball team has secured a wild card to participate in the 2022 Commonwealth Games, set to be held between the 20th of July to the 8th of August in Birmingham, United Kingdom. The International Volleyball Federation and Commonwealth Sport, through a letter to the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, confirmed that Kenya had qualified through the athlete allocation system and team ranking. Moving on, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya President Paul Tergat has appealed to stakeholders and marketers to come out in large numbers and support sports in Kenya in any way. Tergat said that the most of the amateur sports persons end up losing it all due to lack of motivation from federations.
President of the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, Paul Tergat, says that the failure of federation to motivate athletes in the country is one of the reasons why athletes do not register good results in international competition.
Similarly, I implore with tremendous humility your support, the leaders and captains of our industry, to join the government in voting with your budgets and pockets from today towards Team Kenya in its journey to Paris 2024 Olympic Games and beyond.
NOC also called on the government to support the development of young talents, as they will be the country's flag bearers in future.
We have these memories of sports. We have our own President Tergat, who in the history has one of the closest finishes, and we know about it. We know about Mboya dancing after winning. This is what Kenya is all about.
For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. The 97th edition of the Tana Hill Shield Golf Tournament teed off today at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club with a junior tournament. 8 teams are participating in the stroke play competition.
Host Royal Nairobi Golf Club got an 11-shot lead in the opening round of the junior competition of the 97th edition of the Tana Hill Shield Tournament, with a gross score of 261 from the best 3 of the 4 pairs entered. Vetlab Sports Club are second on 272 gross, with debutants Mount Kenya and Muthaiga tied third on 273.
All these are very capable players who have demonstrated their prowess on the golf course today. We have 2 very good scores in the low 80s, a few in the 90s. So we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Day one is always hard, no matter what. Whether you're Tiger, day one is always tough. So we expected a tough day, of course on a new course. It was tough. We could have done better though.
The junior tournament will come to a close tomorrow. The senior tournament for players aged over 55 will tee off on Thursday, with the main competition running from Friday through Sunday.
Started today with the junior tournament. Last year we didn't have the junior tournament, so it's been a while, but now we are happy that it is back. And judging from the games played today, it looks like the standards are very high. The teams have done very well, their preparations.
The participating teams are host Royal Nairobi, Mombasa, Muthaiga, Western Kenya, Limuru, Vetlab, Kenya Railway Sigona, and Karen Country Club. For Prime Edition, I am Daniel Wahome.
And those are all the sports stories we had for you tonight. My name is Kariuki. Yes.
Yes.
But before we wrap it up, we would definitely love to wish our colleague Carol Njenga a happy birthday. She's already on vacation.
Yeah, she's already on vacation.
And the whole team wishes you happy birthday, Carol.
By the way, I'm just wondering how, in the African context, how birthdays were celebrated. Because a lot of people would say, I was born when it was raining. They don't have specific dates.
Carol will tell us all about her.
So when it rains, we celebrate.
When it rains,
yes,
we celebrate. Yeah. When it shines, we celebrate. Well, there was a bumper harvest. That's when I was born.
Yes.
Yeah.
We wish you a happy birthday, Carol. You are doing an amazing job in the business desk.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, truly. Have a good one. You're doing a good one also on the sports desk, I think.
Thank you so much, but it's just not my birthday.
All right, we have to wrap it up now. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching Prime Edition. It's Monday night. We'll see you again tomorrow, God willing. I'm Purity Museo, and Susan Thuku has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Good night, and God bless.
I'm Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.
Ili kupata Warumi 8 kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815#.
Nina hakika kwamba hakuna kinachoweza kukutenga na upendo wa Mwenyezi Mungu. Si kifo, si malaika, si vitu tulivyokuwa navyo au tutakavyokuwa navyo, si mamlaka au chochote kitakachoumbwa. Warumi 8:38 hadi 39.
Kupata Warumi 8, bonyeza *811 *815#. *811 *815#.
The legendary run to Olympia Stadion in Berlin is now less crowded, with only 4 teams out of 64 still in contention. Something more outstanding is that all of the sides to have won the DFB Pokal over the last 29 years are already out this year.
And Leverkusen are knocked out by a Bundesliga 2 side.
In the first DFB Pokal semi-final, Hamburger SV will face Freiburg on Tuesday, the 19th of April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. While in the second semi-final, RB Leipzig will lock horns with Union Berlin on Wednesday, the 20th April 2022 at 9:45 p.m. Having braced the turbulent journey and buoyed up with the trophy in sight, no team want to go down without a fight. You don't want to miss this adventurous football show, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Niache mimi na familia yangu tafadhali. Sitawahi kukusamehe mpaka kufa kwangu.
Dadako hata tuacha tuishi kwa amani.
Unawezaje kwenda kumuwafaza wakati wajua faza ndo tegemea lilonalolio peke yake?
Wewe kama ushatemwa usileteza hofu mimi hapa.
I give you a good lawyer akuwakilishe. What's the problem? Mimi nitashinda vipi kesi wakili kama wewe utatoa ushahidi?
Ipo siku wakili utarudi ndani ya hii nyumba na hautanipata.